Caligula's reign of terror. When Rome's emperor lost his mind. Picture this. The most powerful man in the ancient world stands before the Roman Senate, his eyes gleaming with madness as he announces his intention to make his beloved horse, Incitatus, a consul of Rome. The senators shift uncomfortably, unsure whether their emperor is joking or genuinely believes a stallion should help govern an empire of 60 million people. Welcome to the nightmarish reign of Gaius Julius Caesar Augustus Germanicus, better known as Caligula, whose 4-year rule would become synonymous with absolute power corrupting absolutely. The Golden Boy's dark genesis, born in 12 CE into the Julio-Claudian dynasty, young Gaius seemed destined for greatness. His nickname, Caligula, meaning little boots, came from the miniature military sandals he wore as a child while accompanying his father Germanicus on campaigns along the Germanic frontier. Roman soldiers adored this precocious boy who marched alongside them, and when Germanicus died under suspicious circumstances, possibly poisoned by rivals, Caligula became a symbol of his father's legacy and the empire's future. But here's where the story takes its first sinister turn. Caligula's childhood was spent navigating the treacherous waters of imperial politics under his great-uncle Tiberius, an increasingly paranoid and reclusive emperor. On the island of Capri, young Caligula witnessed executions, betrayals, and the gradual erosion of traditional Roman values. Some historians suggest this toxic environment planted the seeds of the monster he would become. When Tiberius died in 37 CE, with rumors swirling that Caligula himself smothered the aging emperor, Rome erupted in celebration. The 24-year-old heir was everything Tiberius was not: young, charismatic, and generous. He freed political prisoners, recalled exiles, and distributed massive bonuses to the Praetorian Guard and Roman citizens. For the first few months, it seemed as though Rome had found its golden emperor. The transformation, from beloved to beast. Then something changed. Was it a severe illness in late 37 CE that left him mentally unstable? A gradual intoxication with absolute power? Or had the madness been lurking beneath the surface all along? Whatever the cause, by 38 CE, Caligula had transformed into a creature that would make Nero look restrained by comparison. The first signs were excessive spending and megalomaniacal building projects. Caligula burned through the entire Roman treasury, accumulated over decades by the frugal Tiberius in less than a year. He constructed a temporary bridge across the Bay of Naples, stretching over 3 miles just so he could ride across it wearing Alexander the Great's breastplate, supposedly fulfilling a prophecy and demonstrating his power over the sea itself. The cost was astronomical, but the spectacle fed his growing god complex. But extravagance was just the appetizer. The main course would be far more horrifying. The horse, the Senate, and the death of dignity. The infamous story of Incitatus reveals the depths of Caligula's contempt for Roman institutions. This wasn't merely the whim of a spoiled ruler. It was a calculated insult to the Senate, a body that had governed Rome for centuries. Caligula didn't just threaten to make his horse a consul, he treated Incitatus better than most Romans. The horse lived in a marble stable, drank wine from golden cups, wore jeweled collars, and had servants attend to its every need. When senators visited the palace, Caligula would sometimes force them to pay homage to his horse. Imagine these dignified men, descendants of those who had conquered the Mediterranean, bowing before a stallion while their emperor laughed maniacally. It was psychological warfare designed to break the spirit of Rome's traditional ruling class. But why stop at humiliation when you could have blood? The killing fields of imperial paranoia. Caligula's reign of terror reached its crescendo with a series of murders that shocked even a society accustomed to political violence. Unlike previous emperors who killed for political necessity, Caligula seemed to murder for sport. He executed his own relatives, including his adopted son and potential heir, Gemellus, on trumped-up charges of treason. He forced another relative to commit suicide. then married the man's widow. The emperor's methods were as creative as they were cruel. He would invite condemned prisoners to elaborate dinners, treating them as honored guests before having them tortured and killed for his entertainment. During gladiatorial games, he would order entire sections of the crowd thrown to wild beasts when the supply of criminals ran low, claiming that all Romans were guilty of something. Perhaps most chilling was his systematic approach to terror. Caligula didn't kill in fits of rage. He planned his murders with cold calculation. He would sometimes spare a condemned man at the last moment, not out of mercy, but to prolong the psychological torture. He wanted his victims to live in constant fear, never knowing when the axe would fall. The god-emperor's divine delusions. As his reign progressed, Caligula's megalomania reached cosmic proportions. He declared himself a living god, demanding worship from his subjects and constructing temples in his own honor. He would dress as various deities, Jupiter, Neptune, Apollo, and expected Romans to treat him accordingly. When visiting the temple of Jupiter Optimus Maximus, he would reportedly hold conversations with the statue of the god, sometimes arguing loudly enough for observers to hear. In perhaps his most audacious act of sacrilege, Caligula ordered the construction of a bridge connecting his palace on the Palatine Hill directly to the temple of Jupiter, claiming he needed easy access for his meetings with his divine brother. He also attempted to have his statue erected in the Temple of Jerusalem, nearly sparking a Jewish revolt that would have required massive military intervention. The conspiracy in the shadows. By 41 CE, Caligula had created so many enemies that conspiracy was inevitable. The Praetorian Guard, senators, and even his own family had grown tired of his excesses and terrified of his unpredictability. The emperor's habit of publicly humiliating the very people responsible for his protection proved to be a fatal miscalculation. The end came swiftly and brutally. On January 24, 41 CE, as Caligula left a theatrical performance, a group of Praetorian officers cornered him in a palace corridor. Led by Cassius Chaerea, a man Caligula had repeatedly mocked for his supposedly effeminate voice, the conspirators stabbed the emperor multiple times. They didn't stop there. His wife Caesonia was murdered, and their infant daughter's head was smashed against a wall, ending the bloodline of this mad emperor. The legacy of madness. Caligula's reign lasted just 3 years, 10 months, and 8 days, but its impact on Roman history was profound. He demonstrated how quickly the Principate, Augustus's careful balance of power, could collapse into despotism when placed in the wrong hands. His reign also showed the Roman people that emperors were not gods, despite their divine pretensions, and could be killed like any other man. Modern historians debate whether Caligula was truly insane or simply a product of absolute power and a dysfunctional upbringing. What remains undeniable is that his reign represented a fundamental shift in the nature of Roman imperial rule, from the principled leadership of Augustus to the arbitrary cruelty that would characterize many subsequent emperors. The story of Caligula serves as a timeless reminder that power without accountability inevitably corrupts, and that even the mightiest empires are vulnerable to the madness of a single man. In just 4 short years, he transformed from Rome's golden hope into its darkest nightmare, leaving behind a legacy written in blood and remembered in infamy. When Romans spoke of Caligula in later years, they would whisper his name like a curse, a cautionary tale of what happens when mortals believe themselves to be gods. His reign of terror had ended, but its lessons would echo through the corridors of power for millennia to come.